Good day. You might have noticed that there's not much happening with this channel in the recent times, and I wanted to address that and make one of those kind of like end of the year updates with what's been going on with Nutana Music and what's in store for the future. But to start, I wanted to play a short clip from a video that we made a long time ago that's kind of poetic, let's say, to some news I have for you. This was from 2017, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They spill while they pass, they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow and joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me.
Stop that for now. That's yeah, that's that first verse kind of sums it up right now. I wanted to make something here to kind of like highlight all of the stuff that's happened in the past and then what might happen in the future. So I have a whole script of things here to talk about, which I might get to. I'm not sure. So anyway, yeah, here we go. Good day, Guten Dayan, my Islamic friends, bonjour, my French friends, Tansi, to all my indigenous Cree friends, Salam, Shubakhir, to all my Hazara brothers and sisters who I've made great friendships with over the last year and a half. I greet all of you, former students, current students, and staff with an open heart and an open mind. And I'm making this video to highlight all the past accomplishments of Nutana Music and to provide a history of how I got here and so what's happened next. So I started at Aidan Bowman in 2007, taking over for a legendary series of music educators that allowed me to hit the ground running and reap the benefits and accolades of the work that had been done before me. And after that I went to Walter Murray in Silver Spring and teaching band as well. And started at Nutana in 2010, taking over for Kevin Barrett when the school was being renovated. Not a small, let's replace the floors renovation, like a full-scale renovation. Floor to ceiling, redid the entire building, new electrical, new HVAC, the whole bit. $1.4 million alone for the auditorium. My first visit here, because I wasn't aware that this was happening, my first visit here was bleak. I wanted to share some pictures I found in the archives that I've been going through recently in preparation to making this video to show you what my first reaction, my first visit to the place. So this is the view from where I'm sitting right now out the doors here. That's a 3 foot by 20 foot, no, 3 foot by 80 foot heating duct that was just sitting on the floor, and that served as our chair for the year. We didn't close a single day. We operated every single day throughout this. And this is the auditorium entrance right now. That's the janitorial closets. That's Baumgarten's room right there. This is a hanging down electrical thing. This, insulation and stuff like this. Was my classroom. It's first reaction was obviously, well, what am I going to do with this? This is bananas. So it felt like entering a graveyard. it felt hopeless. My experience in the previous schools was pretty good, but at the time it wasn't going that great for a variety of reasons, like beyond everybody's control. And I was kind of filled with despair about my own ability to be a competent educator at the time. Because in the early days, like I said, I had inherited band programs that were well established, and I only had to like pay it forward. And the baton literally passed to me with a bunch of momentum, and all I had to do was keep it waving, keep it moving, and it was good to go. And it always been like a life dream of mine to be the helm of a high school music program, be the difference in young people's lives in their formative years, because it was a huge difference in mine. My life wasn't going super great for a while, and then I found my tribe, and I found my passions, and I found my life's work, and I wanted to be that same difference to the next generation. And I got to do that with those schools, but I had inherited the previous work, and I was kind of felt like a fraud. So in this particular case, with like starting literally from scratch, or maybe even negative scratch, I saw an opportunity to make a difference in a good way. Instead of inherit a program, start one, like from ground up. See if I could like do it myself and cut the apron strings and prove my own mettle in the world. Just not complaining about this. This is just like the reality of it. Like most other band programs also have a feeder program from elementary schools, or at least grade 9s, but we start in grade 10, so I've got to try to find where the interest is within our own building, and then try to schedule classes to make it work inside the schedule, outside the schedule, at home at night. It's been a crazy ride. Anyway, so I saw this potential, but it was still pretty bleak. It was about like 5 years into my career at that point, no kids yet, young enough to make a career change if I wanted to. The first quarter went by okay, and I was just kind of rolling with the punches, but the time quarter 4 rolled around, that pictures that you saw, it was not even, that was the start of it. Like, it got, the renovations became more and more complicated to work around, and growth, I just couldn't see it, and I was ready to quit. Like, mental health in the toilets, stress levels through the roof. Started grappling with some anxiety and my own self-worth and stuff, and anyway, working on it. This is not therapy, this is storytelling. Sorry. So the renovations really picked up. There's a yucca facility, literally like rubble, gear in a sea can on the Victoria lawn, frozen over the winter and half wrecked, and I was like, that's it, I'm going to do the quarter, a couple of paychecks, and I'm out. Keep your head down, shut up, check out, and go back to school or figure out something else. But I didn't, obviously. That was 13 years ago. This was primarily because of the staff, and because when you're working from nothing, you can kind of see into infinity. It's like there's not only are there no barriers, but there's no standards, and you can kind of go in whatever direction that the community needs. But it was primarily the staff and how dedicated the students were. So the staff room back in those days was right next to that picture you saw. I was in the auditorium next to the music room, and many were coming and going, and we had coffee and shared laughter about like how much of a chaotic place this is to work, and to be able to laugh in like the midst of adversity and just have like let's see what happens, enjoy yourself, this is crazy. And it's the best I'd felt in a couple of years of work. Just a great, welcoming, warm vibe. And like after that first week of that quarter, that I was kind of like feeling both awful and good at the same time. Ian Cooper invited me to Amigos that Friday after the first week of the quarter, and got there a little late after dealing with some extra cleaning and facility maintenance and fixing up guitars and what have you. I remember Ian looking up from a plate of fries and saying to the table, "Hey, he's here!" And there's a big roar, and Ian bought me a drink, and that's where the family feeling started. It feels like a family. There was a new tribe. Ended up, I don't know how much of this I should share, but ended up closing down the place with Kim Shemaine and Deegan, Dale, and probably more, cabbing home. I don't remember much other than the Carbon Dating Service was the band that night, and they were tight. One of the greatest bands of all time to come out of Saskatoon, in my opinion. I remember talking to Steph in the morning and saying, hold up on the career change. I think maybe this ain't so bad. Yeah, maybe I can see myself doing this for a while and not being so miserable. I can do this. It's I got this, and that was more than a decade ago. So within a year and a half, I was presented with the choice of the growing program at Silver Spring or the growing program at Nutana, and I didn't even hesitate. Thanks to Cole Kirby, rest in peace, brother. It's kind of all history from there. So, the Nutana family feeling, you know, your hospitality and generosity, patience and open-mindedness over the years has been huge, not just career-wise, but because then I had full-time employment, like a foundation for some happiness and some direction. Steph and I started thinking about kids, and now I'm the proud dad of a 9 6-year-old pair of gingers that are the light of my life. Where are they? And it's also shaped my teaching philosophy that like unsolicited kindness can create waves in a student's life that can catalyze joy. It's how I live my life and how I do my job. Anyway, stop waxing poetic about the past here. Jump ahead to about 8 years ago. A friend of mine and I received about $100,000 in grant money to fund an artist in residence over 5 years. 6 years? 5 years? Long time. Started the SWEAT songwriting program, which was in multiple secondary schools. Started the rock band program with the democratic angle that had student voice and choice drive the content and the stories, and achievement. Gained some traction. We had some documentaries filmed about us, I think 4. Multiple news stories, celebration of excellence awards, and started building and building and building, and I just kind of became a fixture here. It just exploded, and we've recorded since 2013 like 200 plus original songs and have done hundreds of performances, and I've made a real difference to a lot of people, and I'm super proud of it. So just to give you an idea of the amount of content that students have been putting out here. Oh, I wanted to share this too. This was the first thing that we filmed in 2014, I think, something like that. And this was after we figured out we should have been filming this stuff way too late. Like I think 2 or 3 quarters went by before the artist in residence and I were kind of like, we should be documenting this. These kids are crushing it. So this is the first one that we ever filmed. Not the first one we ever did, the first one we ever filmed. From way back. I'll just play a little bit of this. The audio quality is back before I knew how to edit stuff, so forgiveness there. Anyway, so it just kind of went from there. The channel itself has grown to something kind of like unbelievable. Just to give you an idea of the amount of content that's going on here. This is most recent, and then if I keep on loading and loading and loading and loading and loading and loading, it just kind of like, people just dug in and went hard. And this is just the stuff that we've published. It's not even the stuff like rehearsals and all of the work that goes on in the background in these things. That's you know, you only see like a 3-minute video at the end of it, but it was like, you know, 10 hours worth of rehearsal time and fundamentals and techniques and preparing and all that sort of stuff. Well, there's that documentary I was talking about. Yeah, and it keeps on going. You don't need to watch me scroll, and there's that first one, 5 days in May. I posted some to my personal account, and I forgot to change those over. So, there's a dizzying amount of content there. Anyway, so that existed before the pandemic, and it was pretty cool. I came to really love what I do, instead of kind of being indifferent and deficit-minded. It wasn't it wasn't a job. It was like a vocation. Sorry. I love this program that's been built here more than I love a lot of things, which is probably unhealthy. My thoughts in off-work time constantly stray to mistakes I've made or awesome things that have happened instead of kind of being in the moment. And anyway, the democratic thing that's been built has worked. Feedback received. I was able to build something out of nothing and have it make a difference, just like I wanted to pay it forward from the 13 years previous. Then the pandemic hit, and we were all scared. But as equally as I was scared for general health and well-being, I was scared that the thing that was built would die. So I did the only thing I was in control of. I dug in to work harder than I've ever dug in before. Late night Zoom recording sessions, lessons on Zoom, one-to-one recording sessions, pull-out style, with the support of our great admin, and it paid off, notwithstanding the growth that had been achieved in the years previous, but the students dug into it as hard as I did, and they were probably mirroring me as I pushed them really hard, but I mirrored them right back. And this productivity of our music students at the time of the pandemic dwarfed that which came before. And I haven't even shared any of that yet. I'll stop playing clips now. You might not have seen it because it was all virtual or in a very non-public performance kind of way. It was all online. We published all the stuff. But the published works stand as testament. It went insane. So it was my assumption that given the data and the statistics videos that I've made before, that when things return to normal, that we would have a copious amount of thirsty music students willing to pick up where we left off. And there was for a little bit, but sparing the details, I find myself right now left right back where I began. And it's not my place to document this, but there's some physical facility problems that impede the day-to-day in the auditorium. And it's interestingly poetic to have a physical manifestation of the thing that was built. And it's, as I mentioned earlier in the video, you haven't seen much being posted, and there's a variety of reasons for that, none of which I'm complaining about, but it's just the reality of our community at this time. Yeah, not much has been going on, not like it was before anyway. Next. Oh yeah, then the refugees came. Oh man, on my life, this was by far the most challenging and enlightening experience I have ever had. To all of my Hazara brothers and sisters out there that we've been forming relationships with in our school community, you have reaffirmed to me my responsibility as a public educator to stand against tyrannical systems, including the remnants of stand against tyrannical systems, including the remnants of our colonial system, towards peace and love. As Tammy always says, bring schools into a place of home and healing instead of hurt. I said this in the CBC article last year, and I meant every word of it, but your presence here is a gift. You escaped an ongoing genocide attempt, and you move through life with grace and resilience and motivation. How? I was mentioning to one of my students earlier today, like, if I was in that same boat, I would crumble in under the pressure within a second. I would not be able to handle it. and I'm twice your age. I don't know how you do it. You're amazing to me, and like I'm barely able to move through my day to day with as much grace as I can, and you're just incredible. It reminds me of the incredible indigenous people of our land. Like you're still enduring the effects of an attempted genocide as well, and now you live amongst people with the same experiences coming to us, sharing this land with those who are trying to reclaim it. And I encourage you to find fellowship in one another and build towards love. Yeah. Anyway, so I mentioned that I was like kind of attached to this program in a kind of an unhealthy way, and it's affected my ability to be the most present father I could be. I think I've been open about my family's health challenges, and I've got my own self-care to prioritize, which I've definitely not been doing. And while all scales have been set to zero, so to speak, I received word that some of my colleagues in the secondary music world are retiring. And while we haven't been kind of able to meet the standard that's been set in this program over the last little bit, I made a decision to be open to the conversation to moving somewhere else. And so this is what I wanted to make this, because I was going to lose my mind if it was in public. Okay. Long story short, I'm going to Marion Grand Collegiate next year. I'm not sure in what capacity yet, and I don't know what's going to be happening here. But the next frontier is open, and yeah. I plan on carrying this unique and important torch of transformative, equitable education from here to the North End, and never let it be extinguished. Also, I teach computer science. Okay, bye.